Greetings. In today's session, we'll be discussing about temperature effects in trusses. Let's try to understand what is the actual meaning of temperature effects. In general, the structural elements are used to compose truss members. Greetings. In today's session, we will be discussing about temperature effects in the trusses. Most of the trusses are found by using structural steel members, which shows good thermal resistivity. The rise in the temperature causes the increase in the length of member, and the fall in the temperature causes decrease in the length of member. This is called free thermal change in the length, which can be found out with the product alpha TL, where alpha is nothing but the coefficient of linear expansion of the material, which depends upon the properties of material, and T is the change in the temperature, where L is the length of the member. When this free fall expansion or contraction is prevented, then stresses are developed. This is generally referred as the effect of temperature. In case of a statically determined structure, the contraction, free thermal expansion and contraction is not being prevented, as the members are free to uh, adjust themselves or to have a deformation to get compensated with reference to change in the geometry. But it's not being observed in case of indeterminate structure due to complex geometry, and this complex geometry lead to the rise towards the increase in the member forces. So in case of indeterminate structure, it becomes necessary to identify what type of increase in a member forces are there due to temperature changes. In a statically determined structure, no internal forces are developed due to temperature changes, as the thermal expansion and contraction are not prevented. Due to uniform temperature variation in an externally determinate structure, no internal forces will be induced. Means the unknown and restraints will not have any effect on the uh, temperature variation or expansion due to temperature variation in case of externally determined frames. Due to non-uniform temperature changes in externally determined structures, the internal forces are developed. If the non-uniform temperature changes are there, then there may be chances of member internal forces may be developed due to the end restraints. In an externally indeterminate structure, there are always temperature effects irrespective of uniform or non-uniform temperature variations. Means the members will be subjected to uniform change in the temperature or not. Then we have going to consider there is a effects on the member forces due to rise in temperature in case of indeterminate structure. Now let us go towards the analysis of indeterminate trusses under the temperature change effect. For that, we'll solve numerical with the help of certain consideration here. The very first part, the temperature affected member is selected as a redundant member with a known force x. Since we are going to make the indeterminate structure as a determined by assuming that the member which has gone for a temperature change is a redundant member. The displacement which is being caused by this redundant member will be the product of alpha into T into L. Means whatever the displacement which will be observed by this change in temperature, whether it may be expansion or contraction, the value will be given as a product alpha TL, where alpha will be the coefficient of thermal expansion of that material, T will be the temperature change, and L will be the length of that member. The sign convention of this dx will depend upon when the temperature rises, we will consider it as a expansive in nature, it will lead to the expansion of the member, we consider it as a negative positive, whilst vice versa, if there is a contraction in the member, the length of the member get decreased, we will consider it as a negative. We want to know what is the effect of this redundant force in other member forces. For that, we will do the analysis based on the Castigliano second theorem, where we say that if the redundant force will the value corresponding to the maximization or minimization of strain energy stored by the body with reference to the effect of the redundant force. That's why what we will do, we will take a derivative of strain energy with reference to partial derivative of strain energy with reference to redundant force. We get a relation alpha TL is equals to dou ui upon dou x, and since the members are being axial forces member, we'll consider the strain energy stored by the member will be x square L upon 2 AE. Based on this preliminary assumption, we will try to solve the numericals which we have to address the temperature changes. Let's move towards the numerical number 16. Analyze the truss supported as shown in figure. If the member AC is subjected to temperature rise of 20 degree, take E is equals to 200 GPa and coefficient of thermal expansion alpha equals to 1.2 into 10 raised to minus 5 per degree centigrade. Cross sectional area of each member is centimeter square is indicated in brackets. The given frame is a 2-bay frame where the member areas has been given in a brackets here 20 centimeter squares. For the peripheral members, where for inclined braces it is 10 centimeter square, 10 centimeter square, and said that the member AC has been subjected to temperature changes. That's why we will consider the member AC as a redundant member, and we will remove this member to make the structure as a statically admissible. And while removing this one, we will apply a unknown force X instead of this member AC in its position, so that the effect of this removal will be unaltered for the other member forces. Once we do this, let's try to find out the value of the distribution of this redundant force among the other member. Let's say it is being defined by the coefficient K1, K2, K3, K4 in respective members. So our interest lies to find out what is the value of this K1 and then what's the value of redundant forces. To begin this, we'll start with the joint by joint analysis, and for that let's try to find out the inclination of the redundant force with reference to horizontal. We will take the geometry in consideration here. So it will be the vertical height versus the tan inverse of vertical height versus the horizontal width. From the triangle ACD, we can say tan inverse 2 by 1.5 will be the angle which is being traced by the redundant member or redundant force. We require the component of it, so we will immediately find out the component cos theta and sin theta. Theta works out to be 53.13 degree, and cos component comes to be 0.6, sin component comes to be 0.8. After that, we will go with joint by joint analysis. Since there is no external forces, there will be no reactive forces develop at the end restraints. So we will take a equilibrium of the forces meeting at the joint A. There are three forces, among which one is the redundant force X and two is the member force K4, K1. The direction cosines are considered in such a way that the vectors get balances to each other. After applying equilibrium equations to this, summation of force in x direction results into relation x cos theta minus K4, thereby giving a value of K4 as 0.6 times of x kilonewton, compressive in nature. Similarly, summation of vertical forces in y direction gives a relationship x sin theta minus K1 equals to 0, thereby leading a relation K1 equals to 0.80 times the x kilonewton in compression. Now, we'll apply the your static equilibrium equation for the joint B, and free body diagram we prepare for the joint B shows there are three forces K5, K2, K1, among which we have just calculated K1. Two are unknowns K5 and K2. Let's apply a static equilibrium equation in vertical direction. We get minus K5 sin of theta plus K1 equals to 0. K5 results to be x kilonewton tensile in nature. If we apply a static equilibrium equation for horizontal direction, we get K5 cos of theta minus K2 equals to 0. K2 comes to 0.60 times of x kilonewton in compression. Now after that, we'll move to the joint C, where we have three unknown forces K2, X and K3. Among these, X and K2 has been found from the earlier analysis. Only remains K3 here unsolved. So we'll write summation of forces in vertical direction equals to 0, resulting into a relation minus x sin of theta plus K3 equals to 0. K3 comes to 0.8 times of x kilonewton in compression. Once we know the values here, we will go for the determination of result. We will tabulate these member forces and other result to get the easy in the calculation. The table will consist first first column about the member. So member are arranged in a manner that it will first go with the profile A, B, C, D, outer periphery, and then the inclined bracing will be there. The inclined bracing BC and AC and BD. AC and BD. The area of the members are known to us. It's about 2 centimeter square, 20 centimeter square for the horizontal and vertical members. It's about 2000 mm square if we convert into mm. Similarly, for diagonal bracing, it is given 10 centimeter square. So if we convert in mm, it will be 1000. E is given to us. It's 200 kilonewton per mm square. Then K value we have just find out 0.8, 0.6, 0.8, 0.6. They are positive in nature because they are compressive forces, and -1 times of x, -1 times of x for the inclined bracings AC and BD, where AC is assumed as a redundant force. After that, we will take a product K square L by A. I am not going to substitute here E. So individual areas are different. That's why we'll take a product K square L upon A. It results into a relation 0.64 x square, 0.27 x square. Likewise, subsequently I will do for all members. Then I will take finally the summative value of all member products. It comes to 6.82 x square. After knowing this, we will apply strain energy concept here. The strain energy is given as summation of x square L upon 2AE. That's why relation we get to 6.82 x square divided by 2E. Already we have taken A in the product. That's why I am not representing here. After that, we will take a derivative of this to maximize the strain energy. We will take derivative of this strain energy with reference to the redundant force, which comes to be 6.82 x divided by E. X square will result into 2x, and bottom side denominator we have 2 get cancelled. What remains here 6.82 x divided by E. If you talk about the dx, the displacement diba, the displacement which has been observed by the member which was under temperature change, it comes to be alpha into T into L. Alpha value we know 1.2 into 10 raised to -5 multiplied by 20 is the temperature change, multiplied by the length of that particular member, which work out to be 2500 with reference to the geometry given to us. The total dx, the diba value comes to be 0.6 mm. If we substitute this value in the relation of strain energy, that relations, we can get redundant force as a product of 200 into 0.6 divided by 6.82, leading to a value of 17.60 kilonewton. So here redundant force is of magnitude 17.60 kilonewton tensile in nature. Now with reference to this redundant force, let us try to find out the member forces. The member forces, we can say P force in member F1 will be equals to P1 plus K times of X. P is external load is not that. The P component will not consider, only F1 will be equals to K times of X. So what I will do here, I will take 0.8 times of 17.60 to represent the force in member AB, which comes to be 14.08. Similarly, I will do the product for the second part. It is 0.6 times of X. It comes to 10.56. Likewise, we will find out the forces in individual member, and finally these forces will represent the final force which has been arise in a member due to temperature changes. Okay, with this I will stop my lecture here. We will come with further lecture series discussing about the yielding of the support and the effect of yielding of support on the redundant trusses and determinate trusses. Till then, stay at home, be safe, be healthy. Thank you.